Morning, and thank you for inviting me to committee today to discuss the Draft Vehicles Emissions Trading Schemes Order, or as it is more commonly known, the Zero Emissions Vehicle or ZEV mandate. We know that we urgently need solutions to support our journey to net zero, and that critical to this is the decarbonisation of transport. Transport is the largest contributor to Scottish greenhouse gas emissions, making up 29% of all emissions in 2019, and with road transport contributing 66% of those emissions. So it's critical that the Government does its utmost to ensure that everyone has options for cleaner and greener ways of getting around, and that in a way that is cognisant of their way of life. So jointly working with the UK Government, the Welsh Government and Northern Ireland's Department for Infrastructure, I'm bringing forward the Draft Vehicle Emissions Trading Scheme Order for your consideration today. The schemes will put legal obligations onto car and van manufacturers in the UK to sell zero-emissions vehicles each year, and for a percentage of their sales to constitute zero-emissions vehicles, ramping up from 22% of all those sold in 2024 to 80% of new cars in 2030. In parallel, the CO2 standard scheme for the new non-zero emissions cars and vans will help drive down the emissions of the manufacturers' new petrol and diesel van fleets, so they work in parallel and bearing down in different directions. The cost-benefit analysis estimates that through these schemes alone, there would be 420 million tonnes of carbon dioxide in carbon emissions savings across the UK by 2050, and the figure for Scotland alone is around 40 million tonnes of carbon. And I would just bring to the committee's attention that it is intended there shall be a midpoint review to monitor the implementation of them, and it's intended this will be done on a Four Nations basis and be published in Q1 of 2027. We know that the Climate Change Committee supports the introduction of the schemes. They've highlighted how important they are, stating that the switch to EVs is the single largest driver of future emissions reductions, and adding that the ZEV mandate will be vital in delivering these savings. We know it's critical for everyone in every part of Scotland, and we've been cognisant of that when designing this. So we have asked for the inclusion of analysis on the impact on remote and rural communities in the cost-benefit analysis. Whilst done on a Four Nations basis, this was something the Scottish Government was able to ask for and to have done. And also, of course, we're bringing this forward in the context of the Prime Minister's recent announcements to push the the UK ban on non-zero cars and vans back from 2030 to 2035. My colleague Julie James in the Welsh Senate noted that the ZEV mandate is a way to provide certainty in that, with that change having taken place, and as she put it, to hold the UK Government's feet to the fire. So I hope we can all agree that this shift to net zero cars and vans is a really important part of how we move to a just transition to net zero, and I would ask the committee to endorse the draft legislation. Thank you.